Welcome back, fellow shop rats. Today we're back on the Stitches Challenger. In our last episode, we had went ahead and ground down and stripped this quarter panel just to get a feel for what kind of shape it was in. Plus, it just feels good to be able to look at the car and see it that much more close to being in one color. And of course, if you've been around for a while, you know that black is the color we're going with eventually to be a sister car to the 69 Charger. If you haven't seen that car, there are plenty of episodes on the channel on that one. So today, we're going to work on getting the driver's side subframe connector installed in the car. Now, we could stand here and talk about it all day, or we could just do it. Remember that the things that we do here on the channel don't just apply to a 70 Challenger, but you can take them directly out into your shop and apply them to the projects that you're working on. Now, let's stop talking. Let's get into it. I'm Mike, and this is My Car's Shop.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Car's Shop.
There's a lot of exciting stuff happening here on Stitches. Just as a side note, I've got a bunch more parts coming for the car that I'm really excited to get a hold of. Remember that this car was stripped out completely and gutted, and so we didn't have most everything that we needed for the car, like the taillights and the bumper and the dashboard, and we had the dash frame, but no dash pad, no instrument cluster, no hood, no grill. There's a lot of little details, the vinyl top trim, all of that stuff. So hopefully in the next week or two here we have some things showing up, and I'm excited about that to share with you what's going on. I'll just leave it at that. Another thing that I wanted to mention is we've got another super clean drawing coming real soon, so stay tuned for the details on that. You're not going to want to miss a chance to get your hands on some of that awesome product. So I've been talking with Jessica a bit, and we've put our heads together on something, and I'm pretty excited about it. So stay tuned for that as well. All right, let's get into it. Now remember that we've hand fabricated everything on this car so far except the quarter panel. The rear valance was a smashed piece, a non-exhaust cutout piece that we've turned into an exhaust cutout style. There's plenty of episodes on that here. We've hand fabricated frame rails, we've hand fabricated trunk extensions. We have taken old floor pans, fabricated parts of the floor pans for the back seat, and used old pans and mixed that together to make the pans that we're going to put in the car. We've fabricated a trunk floor / gas tank strap mount, brace support thingy bob. We have hand fabricated the inner wheel well on the driver's side, and that's really what Stitches is all about, which is why we called it Stitches, because we're literally stitching this old unibody car back together again. Part of the reason for doing that is to show you what can be done if you're willing to think outside of the box. And it dawned on me a while ago, whoever said there had to be a box in the first place? If you own a car, do what you want with it. As long as it's safe and functional, there's nobody out there that should be writing any rules for how we do things. My recommendation always is, if it's a high dollar, numbers matching, very rare, like a Hemi car or a 446 pack car, it's probably not best to do things this way. However, I will say, if you own the car, do what you want with it. You write your own rules when it comes to how you want to put together your restoration project. First thing we have to do is clean up a pile of stuff that's here in the car. One of the things that I've been doing is, like, this entire engine bay was stacked high with all kinds of stuff, and I've squirreled it away over here on the wall and got things hung up. Some of it's put in totes. I'm trying to get this car cleaned out and cleaned off because we're getting closer to being able to put it on the rotisserie, but that's not our purpose today. Today, we're going to be coming here and putting in a subframe connector like we did on that side. You can see we've got to come in here, open this back up. We need to take this brace out of there. At the time that I put that together, I wasn't thinking about putting the subframe connectors in this particular way. I changed my mind and decided to insert them into the frame rail, so we've got to deconstruct some stuff that we had constructed. And that's the beautiful thing about a project like this, is It's metal. If you don't like what you did or you change your mind, cut it back out, do it differently. It's not that big a deal. The only couple big deals that you really need to be concerned about are making sure that you don't twist the car somehow and end up with a chassis that's twisted, and even that can be fixed, but it's something you want to try to avoid if you can. Part of the organization of this project is the scrap, which some of this I had kept as patterns for future floor pans and stuff like that. But I think I have a better pattern than that, and that's old frame rail pieces I kept for patterns we don't need. So separating the scrap from the spares, there's a spare brake pedal assembly, a spare gas pedal, and also a 4-speed shifter that was in the car when I got it. We don't need that here with the project. That stuff can go upstairs in the spare parts bin. And then the stuff that actually is for the car, which is hood springs and a battery tray and marker lights and different things like that. So we'll put all that stuff in a tote. There's a couple things with bolts in them there and so forth. So we'll get this stuff separated up. I see I've got a few more things over there on the floor that I had not noticed before, so we'll go grab those and put those with the key for the car. And then we'll be ready to start digging into getting this subframe connector put in here in this car. This floor is pretty darn bad, so that's kind of good news in some ways because it makes it a lot easier. On that side, I had to cut through the floor. On this side, there's no floor to cut through, so we've got it pretty well cleaned out, but I want to get this other stuff dealt with before we get into the project so we have a little better organization moving forward. That inner support brace is gone now, so we have room to put the subframe connector in like we did on that side. That's good. Got a couple goobers of welt down in there I need to cut out. I wasn't sure how I was going to get that out of there, but I decided to just grind the welds as best I could and use the air chisel, and that worked really well. So just those two goobers, I'll either get that with a grinding disc, or I've got a great big grinding wheel I can put on my grinder and get down in there and hopefully take that off. So should be good to go. I did put a little dent in the bottom of the frame rail down there, but that's no big deal. We can fix that once it's on the rotisserie, quick fix. That's just the thing I want to encourage you with, is that with metal, you know, you can cut it back out again and redo it. It's not a big deal at all. The main thing is you don't want to twist the car, like I said earlier. That's a little bit harder to fix. But other than the rest of this stuff, piece of cake. So I think our next step is to go ahead and get this floor cut out once we get that other thing ground out. To get this floor cut out like that side so that subframe can come up in there. We certainly don't need to channel it like we did that one, so that'll be easy. One difference here is there is a seat brace that goes in there. We need to take that out, try to salvage it for later. It's in pretty rough shape, but it's not rusted, it's just bent and twisted, so we don't want to cut that. So we'll get that out of there, and then we'll get that opened up so that we can put that subframe through up here to about right in here where it ties into the cross member frame floor support thingy bobby doody wobby chingo thingo. It's opened up and the welds are ground out now, so we can start fitting the 2" by 3" box tube down in there, no problem, just like we did on that side. And I share a lot more details on that side probably than I'm going to on this side, but I'm sharing different things here, I hope, and we'll probably run into different challenges, so obviously we'll share those as we go along as well. So if you can see this right here, that's that seatbelt brace, or that seat brace that's not on the other side. I think I'm going to just go ahead and cut it. I think that makes the most sense. I can weld it back together. I thought it bolted on there, but I don't think it, maybe it does. Maybe it does right there. Actually, I think it does. We'll try taking this bolt out. If that doesn't work, we'll cut it. Hopefully it bolts out right there. I thought it was part of this brace right here, but it's not. So I got the subframe connector kind of cut. It will join in like that one does over there. If you can see that, kind of, sort of. Yeah, there it is. You can see it. That one's a little bit low right now because it's not welded on the front side yet, but same thing right there. It'll go right next to the torsion bar. We want to make sure we have room to remove the torsion bar. So that's obviously a concern. We want to be able to pop that torsion bar back out of there. We should be okay from what I can see. So anyway, we'll get this hopefully bolted out right there. I think there's a bolt right there. Hopefully that's all it is. And of course we got a brake line and other crap in the way. Alright, so there's our seat reinforcement bracket. It's just a little bit twisted, but that's okay, so am I. So we'll set that aside to straighten out and fix another time. A couple nuts that went with it, they're in really good shape, so I'll just drop them on the floor and then pick them up and tape them onto this for future reference so we have those together. As I mentioned, the nice thing about this floor versus the floor on that side is that floor pan's actually in pretty decent shape. This one's wasted anyway, so I'll be able to just go through and just cut a big chunk out of here and make room for this subframe connector without having to worry about making it fit and all the stuff that I had to do over there, because I am going to try to reuse at least some of that floor. So good to go here. This is going to start coming together pretty quickly, I think. I'm pretty excited about where this is going from here. So the subframe connector goes from here to here. 4 feet long, slips down into the frame rail and cuts through the floor right here. So I'm just going to buzz out a big chunk of this floor and get it the heck right out of our way. We went from having a big hole to having a much bigger hole, and that's just completely fine. So, beautiful thing about having done that side is now there's a pie slice in there that I can duplicate on the other one because it's going to be basically the same thing. So I will just verify for sure that that slice is in the same spot, but it should be. Shouldn't be any difference. Could be just a minor difference, but that's going to be much easier now. I don't have to figure all that out because I already did it once. I just take that dimension and I know exactly where to put my pie slice to follow that frame rail. This side is much easier on multiple counts because I don't have a floor to work around. So just put that in there, hit the frame. Kind of sort of make a mark. Except my marker just fell apart. There we go. kind of know where that's got to be right there. We'll double check with the dimension on that side, but that should do it. Because it is definitely pressed up against the, yep, it's against that cross member under there. The other one was 8 3/4 of an inch, and the mark that I put on here is right at 8 3/4 of an inch. So we're good to go there. We will make a pie slice on this so that we can that a little bit, except this one's got to bend the other way. Let me think about that a minute. Did I pie slice that, or did I just cut it open? I don't remember. I gotta look. Okay, very good. Just going to shove that down in there further, and we should be good to go. If I was building a second one of these, meaning these cars with hand-built frame rails, I would do things a bit differently, but this is what I have. So I need to shave this down a little bit on both sides here to allow it to fit down into the bottom of the frame rail, and we'll just take my grinder and that down. I had to do it on the other side too. I had not determined what I was doing for subframe connectors at that time, so you live and you learn, you adapt, no big deal. If I had to cut this down the middle and make it just a little bit narrower, we could do that also, but I don't think that's necessary. I think we can just grind this down a little bit. If that doesn't work, then we'll slice it down the middle so it'll fall down all the way into the bottom of that frame rail. So the frame rail on the passenger side, or on the driver's side, well, the frame rail on the passenger side is a little bit wider, and I can't quite get this down in there as far as I can on the other side. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a slice through here. That'll allow me to squeeze this together, and then I'll be able to go ahead and just weld that back up. No big deal. That's the beautiful thing about metal, is you can make things fit. I want it to have the same level of penetration down into that frame on both sides. So I just didn't, like I said, I wasn't accounting for this when I did it. I kind of do a lot of ways. It's ready, fire, aim. I get an idea. I try to think ahead, but you got to move forward. You think yourself into the ground and never get anything done. So let's just get that cut and we'll go from there. And just like that, it's down in there. You can see that it matches the other side. The amount of insertion down into the frame rail. Really happy with that. We'll have to rebuild our piece there, but that's no big deal. Comes along here. Looks good. Basically in the same position as the other side, give or take. We're a little bit close to the torsion bar, but not bad. It needs to pop out a little bit, but that's no big deal. We'll center it between the torsion bar and that hole for the brake line, which you can see where, pretty much like the other side, remember that's not attached either, so much easier on this side without a floor to work with, that's for sure. So yeah, it's going good. Just like that, we have two subframe connectors, so you can see how quickly things start to come together. We have the floor pans kind of set in place. There's obviously a lot more work to do in there, but we're not far from actually being able to install these floor pans now that that subframe is done. So I need to ponder that about what's next. There's a little bit of floor pan work to do over here yet, right up in there. No big deal. I already did it on that side. That patch is all ready to go in. It's not in place exactly, but close enough for what we're doing right now. So things need to be stabilized back out in there a little bit and go from there. But big progress for sure. One thing to mention is I don't have to have these floor pans in necessarily for vehicle stability once this subframe connector's in. I'll have to have these in for vehicle stability because that's part of what keeps the whole back frame rails from whopping about. So let's talk about what's next. It's been a good day out here today. I had video conference calls and Zoom meetings and stuff throughout the day, but I was able to come out and just work between things this afternoon while I was taking care of all of that, and I'm just lucky to be able to do that, and I know that. So what's next then? I'm not welding those subframe connectors in quite yet. That will be coming really soon. The thing that I want to do now is just sit on that for a little bit. I've already sat on the passenger side, but I want to sit on the driver's side for a little bit longer, make sure that I'm not missing anything. And I think I want to go ahead and next episode maybe, don't quote me on this, but I think I'm ready to start final welding all of the frame rails in on this car. And of course we still have a little bit of work to finish up in the front of that wheel well, and the A-pillar to the wheel tub needs to be fixed a little bit there as well. I haven't done that yet because until I take the back of the car apart, I can't get the quarter panel off. So I'm not ready to do that yet because, quite frankly, I'm just enjoying looking at it, and I want to look at it for a little bit longer and then we'll tear into it. So lots more coming. Don't go away on this channel, that's for sure. There are 260 plus videos here on the channel that you can partake in. There's a ton on this car right from the beginning. There's the 26 Oakland, getting that car running after being parked for 75 years. We're just getting started on the Forsyth Duster. I'm still formulating my plan, but I do have an episode coming on that soon. And I've got some paint work coming on the 47 Ford as soon as I get a little bit warmer outside so that I can paint without having the furnace run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 365 days a year to make sure that paint cures right. So probably coming on that in a few weeks. The weather should start to break and it'll be a little more manageable. Also, I'm making a plan on the 69 Charger, and we will be working on that car as soon as the weather breaks and I can work outside. So lots and lots and lots of stuff coming, but you know, the mainstay of the channel, the Duster and this Challenger, lots and lots coming on those. So, all right, that's going to do it for today's episode. I accomplished what I wanted to, which was to get that subframe connector built, get it ready to, or have it installed in the car. Lots of welding to do there, like I said. I believe that we're ready to weld. When we weld that in, we're ready to weld the floor pans in the back, under the back seat. So that's exciting. And again, all the frame rail stuff. All right, let's just go look at another episode here on the channel. Pick one of the other series. Go enjoy those. It's fun to go back. I do this on channels myself. To go back to the very beginning, there's a playlist here called All Episodes, which takes you back to the very first episodes, and you can watch the entire channel episode by episode, project by project, or you can go to the playlists, and there's a playlist for each car here on the channel, as well as a bunch of miscellaneous shop improvements and me just yakking. That'll do it. We're on the Face thing. We're on Instagramma /MyCarShop. Don't forget about the Super Clean giveaway that's coming real soon, and rock!